Hello and welcome to Love and the Planets, and we're looking at the week of July 24th, and I'm Margaret Gray in Dublin.
And I'm Armand Diaz in New York.
So Armand, after last week where we had, of course, a new moon, but we had a lot of Uranian aspects, I'm sure everybody's hoping that we're going to say now things are going to calm down a little, but we can't really say that. So we're kind of really, quite honestly, I don't think things are really going to calm down fully in the heavens until after the eclipses. So we're kind of in that eclipse season. So this week we start, of course, with Venus opposing Saturn. What are your thoughts about this Venus-Saturn opposition in relationships at the very start of the week?
Well, we'll be feeling it all through the weekend beforehand. And Venus-Saturn, you know, it's not the easiest energy. It's very serious, heavy, decision time in relationship type of thing. It's an opposition, so there can be some discussion. We have to remember, though, Venus is in chatty, sociable Gemini. Saturn is in exploratory and somewhat dogmatic Sagittarius. So the conflict may be between what we have here for real and kind of the image of what we want or think we should have. So it may be a little bit more abstract. Not to say that that can't cause problems, but I think that, you know, it could be a time for sort of a serious discussion. It could be a time of making decisions. It could be a time of, you know, moving towards greater commitment. It could be a time of sort of going the other way.
Yes, and I think that going the other way gets emphasized a little bit towards the end of the week as well. So we'll kind of come back to that. But the other interesting aspect that's also happening the same day, on the Monday, is, of course, Mercury trine Uranus. So this could be kind of, you know, the term that kind of came to mind in my head was like almost spontaneous combustion, you know, that something might just explode, or it could be a lot of fun. So it depends really where people are at in their relationships. And this is not just intimate other relationships. It's also relationships in families, you know, and between siblings or between friends or at work. Now, the thing I'm a little concerned about is there is a quincunx to Chiron. So whenever Chiron comes into the picture, there's really the potential that it might feel initially a little ouchy, and then there might come some healing from it. But, you know, whenever we all start talking about healing, everybody goes, oh gosh, you know, what does that mean? But often it's like, it's a little bit like when you hurt yourself and you cut yourself and maybe you've got an old scar, and then Chiron comes along and it opens up that scar a little bit, clears it out, and then moves on. So there's sometimes a little bit of discomfort initially with it.
I think we could be looking for a little bit of discomfort. I think that the Mercury-Uranus can, you know, it's kind of like ripping the Band-Aid off quickly, though. You know, things get said, things happen quickly enough so that sort of we get past the hesitation. Venus-Saturn may inject a little bit of hesitation, although, again, in the signs involved, I don't think that much. So we're liable to get there quickly. I think, you know, with Mercury, given Mercury's position in Leo and Chiron in Chiron in Pisces, there's liable to be a little bit of a pull between, you know, kind of my perspective and the, you know, the greater good, you know, the good of the relationship and so on. So it's yeah, it's a little tough, but possibly fun. You know, I mean,
it could be. And certainly one of the things that keeps coming up, and we've been saying this for a few months now, is really the truth has to be said. We cannot hide behind kind of covering up the truth. So I think these aspects with Mercury are emphasizing that even more. And, you know, interestingly, of course, on Tuesday, Mercury changes sign and it goes, you know, into Virgo, earthy Virgo, which is very detail oriented. I mean, Virgo tends to really analyze things a lot. So we might find ourselves analyzing our relationships, you know, is this working? Is this not working? You know, literally making lists, you know, pros and cons of things. So that's a very Virgoan thing. And of course, we're kind of really going to have Mercury in Virgo for quite a while, because when it goes retrograde in August, it does go all the way back to Leo and then back into Virgo. So until mid-September, we're really going to be dealing with Mercury in Virgo.
Yeah, very much so. Also want to point out that on Monday, when everything else is so bubbling, as we've described, Mercury is also going over the August 21st eclipse degree. and that is liable to bring up a lot. So it's at the very end of Leo, and I just want to like point out that there's that sense with Leo that it can be prideful and egotistical, or it can be heart-centered, and we, keep that in mind.
We're all aiming towards the heart center.
Yes, we hope so. And then I think you're right. Then like we can sort of unpack things with Mercury and Virgo, sort of figure out exactly what we mean by things. Now, Wednesday, the Sun conjuncts Mars. Sounds like fun.
Well, it's certainly action oriented, and, it could be very passionate. It could be it could be very playful. It really feels like a day where we're likely to go for it. So maybe if somebody is not in a relationship, but they've just met somebody that they kind of like, it's probably a good day to kind of just make a move, because I think there's less likely to be a feeling of like, oh my God, it's awful if they say no. It's like, we're just going to do it in the spirit of fun. And again, the potential for that heart-centered action. And that's very much the case, that really inviting somebody out or going on a date or something, check in first. Is this a heart thing, or is it just ego? Because if it's ego, it's probably not likely to work too well. But if it's really something that's got heart behind it, it could work really well on the Wednesday. What do you think?
Well, I think that's right. I think that if we're coming from a heart place, we have a better chance of making things work. If we're coming from an ego place, it could be a little bit of bluster, Mars Sun. But, it could be fun. It could be fun. Even sometimes a little bit of bluster is fun if you don't take it too seriously, which is something I think we all have a problem with anyway. That's a general problem, is taking things too seriously. Now we get to the weekend, and I feel you might as well take things seriously.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the weekend is pretty intense, particularly Sunday. So we've got Venus square Chiron, and then it's sextile Uranus. So, Venus, of course, the planet of relationship. When there are aspects to her from the other planets, we're immediately in the realm of relationships. And of course, the moon is in Scorpio at the same time. So it's going to be, I imagine, a fairly intense weekend. And if things have been, if we started the week with wondering, is this the relationship for me, or what's happening in this friendship, or in this, whatever connection with somebody, by Sunday, we might reach some conclusions. We might decide, either we want a new beginning with this person, or it's time to kind of cut free.
Yeah, I think that is something that is liable to be the theme on Sunday. Remember again, Venus at the sort of the tail end of Gemini, would kind of like to keep it light. And Chiron in Pisces is very emotional, and it's not keeping it light at all. And that could be the sense of it. And with that sextile to Uranus to Venus, I think that it's going to feel a little bit like, well, you know what? I don't really feel like dealing with this anymore. I'm sick and tired of wringing out the handkerchiefs with the tears. I think I'm just going to, go free.
Yeah, and yet the moon in Scorpio says, well, if you really love this person, then you kind of hang in there. There's the loyalty factor. So yeah, it's quite an interesting week, isn't it, ahead? Oh my goodness. And a very happy birthday to Armand for Sunday. I hope you have a wonderful birthday.
Well, given what we just said about it, I don't know.
You'll enjoy anyway. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye, Margaret.